You've heard the jaw-dropping claims about Diddy combs, but now Usher and Justin Bieber are teaming up to reveal shocking truths that have been buried for years. What happened when these two rising stars entered Diddy's world? The truth might just break everything we know about the music industry. Back in the 90s, Usher was just a young boy with big dreams. Discovered by famed music exec L.A. Reid, Usher was ready to take over the music scene. But there was a catch. Usher was struggling. Puberty hit, and his voice started to crack. L.A. Reid almost dropped him, but Usher fought to stay, promising he could bounce back. That's when L.A. Reid made a fateful decision to send Usher to Flavor Camp, a place run by none other than Diddy. Now, to most, Diddy was the man who could turn a nobody into a superstar, and Usher needed exactly that. But what awaited Usher at Flavor Camp was something he could never have anticipated. The camp wasn't just about music, it was about surviving in a world where fame came with a price. Usher would later admit that his time there was filled with confusion, witnessing things that didn't sit right with him. It was crazy. We were up all night partying, and I just wanted to focus on my music, Usher remembers. But the distractions weren't just about wild parties. There were whispers of much darker things happening in Diddy's inner circle. As Usher would soon find out, Diddy was more than a mentor. He was controlling, manipulative, and pushing boundaries in ways no one should have. But Usher wasn't the only one caught in Diddy's world. Justin Bieber, a fresh-faced kid with raw talent, would soon find himself being pulled into the same orbit. But what happened to Justin would prove to be even more disturbing. In the early 2000s, Justin Bieber was just a kid posting videos on YouTube with no idea that his life was about to change forever. Discovered by Usher, Justin was signed to the same label and immediately thrown into the spotlight. But Usher's mentorship would soon come with a dangerous cost. Usher, perhaps unaware of what he was setting in motion, sent a young Bieber to spend 48 hours with Diddy, a move that would haunt both of them. Diddy, ever the master manipulator, was quick to create an image of himself as a father figure to Justin. But in reality, those 48 hours were filled with disturbing events, many of which would only come to light much later. Diddy always liked to say, "This is a 15-year-old's dream." But looking back, I don't know if any of it was what I really wanted, Bieber later recalled. But it wasn't just what Justin saw. It was what was done to him behind closed doors. Reports including disturbing footage and photos started surfacing, showing a young, vulnerable Bieber caught in Diddy's web of influence. The lines between friendship, mentorship, and exploitation became dangerously blurry. What followed was a series of interviews, testimonies, and hidden truths that would take years to unravel. And it wasn't just Justin's career on the line. Usher, too, would soon be forced to confront the horrors of his own past under Diddy's control. For years, Usher stayed quiet about what truly happened at Flavor Camp. But as time went on, he began to piece together the unsettling memories that had once been buried. He began to speak out about the things he witnessed, things that many others in the industry turned a blind eye to. There were times you would walk through a door and you'd see things you just weren't prepared for, Usher admitted. It wasn't just about music, it was about power. And Diddy had it all. "I was just a kid trying to survive, but the price was steep." Usher's words would soon be backed by others in the industry, former bodyguards, other musicians, and even insiders who knew what went on behind the scenes. It wasn't just the partying that was concerning, it was the way Diddy used his influence over these young artists, controlling every aspect of their lives, both personal and professional. Usher, at just 13 years old, had no idea what he was getting into, but now, decades later, he was finally ready to speak out. But Usher and Justin weren't the only ones who had to live with the consequences of Diddy's manipulative tactics. Behind the scenes, more disturbing allegations began to surface about what Diddy had done to countless young artists, all in the name of power and control. As the years went by, more stories began to surface, shedding light on Diddy's abusive control over not just Usher and Justin, but other artists as well. There were whispers of sexual abuse, manipulation, and drug use, all used to control young stars. And it wasn't just rumors. Witnesses, former employees, and other artists who had worked with Diddy came forward with shocking accounts of what they had seen. One former employee claimed that he had witnessed Diddy forcing young artists into situations that were not only unethical, but also illegal. He used his power to control them, the source said. He knew how to break someone down and make them feel like they owed him everything. As more allegations came to light, Diddy's empire began to crumble. And with each new revelation, it became clearer that the music mogul had exploited his position for years, building a career on the backs of young, vulnerable artists. Now Usher and Justin Bieber are standing together, determined to expose the full truth of their experiences. But as their testimony gets closer, more people from Diddy's past are starting to speak out. The walls are closing in on the music mogul, and the truth is coming to the surface. In a groundbreaking move, Usher and Justin Bieber have teamed up to bring attention to the abuse they faced under Diddy's control. Both artists, now at the peak of their careers, are using their platform to expose the ugly truth about what really happened when they were just kids. People need to understand that we were just kids, Justin said in a recent interview. We didn't have control over what was happening to us. It wasn't fame we were chasing, it was survival. Usher echoed these sentiments, adding, "The industry is a dangerous place for young talent, and nobody should have to go through what we did. But it's time to set the record straight." As Diddy faces trial, their words will be key in bringing justice to those who were victimized by his actions. The truth is finally being told, and it's a truth that the music industry can no longer ignore. Diddy's trial is just the beginning of what could be a long-awaited reckoning for the music mogul. As Usher and Justin Bieber stand together, speaking out about the horrors they faced, as young stars they are reminding the world that the price of fame shouldn't include exploitation and abuse. Will the truth about Diddy's empire finally be exposed? And will the industry change its approach to protecting young talent? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, the music world will never be the same again.
I think just being kind at the end of the day is what separates you from others, because there's so many people I see in this industry that thrive and do amazing, and some of them are talented and some of them aren't, but you end up walking away in situations liking the people who were nice to you rather than the people who were more successful. I think you can learn little pieces from everybody, and Will has taught me some stuff and given me some advice on just life lessons and stuff. So I think that you can take pieces of different advice from different people, and then you can just become a smarter person and someone who can just take advice from other people.
Right here, right up top, straight ahead.
I got a lot of advice from a lot of people. It just depends, like some advice, like Usher's told me to just, if I want this, then it's just up to me, because I have the fans and I have the people that support me. It's just about me doing the work and putting in the effort and actually wanting it and wanting to be the best. And so that's what has to come with it. You can't just go in it and do it half-assed, because you'll just become just another person that did it, and that's not why I'm here.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they loved me and, just turn their back on you in a second.